thanks for coming out today. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about what it was like, before you came to treatment, and what it was like for you as well. And if you could explain just the experience of being sick for that long and how much of a struggle it is.
Yeah, so my health kind of had a big tank in 2013. I had no history of any sort of medical anything of any challenge. And then all of a sudden in 2013, out of nowhere, I just started developing really intense anxiety, just kind of an off feeling, and went around to a lot of different doctors trying to distinguish what was going on. It felt different than what I understood anxiety to mean, and no one could really give me or pinpoint anything specific, other than just throwing different medications that would kind of mask that. So that went on for about 2 years. And then when we moved out of state, we leased a house that had just been renovated, moved into the house, and at that time my symptoms changed from just, kind of an off feeling to actually pain developing all throughout my body, weakness, pain in my legs and arms, lightheaded, dizziness. Within about 3 or 4 months of moving into this house, I couldn't drive anymore. I couldn't focus on the road. Had to stop working, and then the next 6 months to a year, my wife was driving me to all sorts of doctors and specialists all across the Seattle region, and a variety of different specialties, lots of them very eager to help, but unable to pinpoint or find anything in what diagnostic ability that they had with their testing, and so they kind of threw their hands up and just said, well, you have chronic fatigue syndrome. And that was frustrating because I felt like that's just kind of a non-diagnosis. And I, was emphatic that I've never had any of these things happen before, and, I have a healthy history. And we finally found a guy who, specialized in more of Lyme disease. And he was able to diagnose me very quickly with the first appointment, that I had, Lyme's and Bartonella, the co-infection that was attacking my nervous system, which was kind of causing that off feeling and the anxiety, and that I was also living in a house with toxic mold. And so after that appointment, we didn't spend another night in that house, and that doctor was able to get me, functional, able to work, but I was never able to work out, exercise, have any sort of vibrancy of life beyond just barely getting through working. And that went on for years. Until we came here.
And I remember too, when you came down, you were on medication that was, at least keeping the anxiety at bay, but it was what you described, where it was just getting by and just barely floating above water, where you were kind of out of the proverbial bedridden stage, but you weren't really able to function, you had no quality, and you really weren't able to work and do things to help out and things. And I also wanted to just hear what it was like for you to watch and experience yourself, because it affects everybody around, and I don't think we spend enough time talking about what that's like for our partners and caretakers and family members. So can you describe a little bit of watching him go through that and seeing somebody experience that?
So what I would say is, with LHI, they were such a blessing to us in that they were the final piece of the puzzle after years of his chronic illness, and that affecting our lifestyle in a spectrum of ways. So like he said, at his sickest, he couldn't drive or he couldn't work. Finally got to the point where he was getting by. He could work, he could drive, but past, 2 p.m., once he got home, he hit the hay. He was on the couch, he was in bed. So the quality of life was still not there. We were still just getting by. And everything just came full circle with LHI. It was the final piece of the puzzle where we were, again, even though we had seen improvement, and we were so thankful for that leading up to before we came here, we were, again, still in a place of a little bit of, I don't want to say hopelessness, but we had hit a plateau where he was no longer improving. And that was taking a toll on our family. We had a newborn at that point, and it was just our lifestyle, his ability to be an active father, all of those things. And not to say that you can't be a great father with chronic illness, but he wanted more. He wanted to have, a level of activity. So you all were such a blessing in that, within those 6 weeks that we were here, it was like a complete 100% turnaround from just getting by to actually thriving. And that made all the difference for our family.
And it was, to me, it was kind of, quick. I mean, we got to know you quick, but it was a quick transformation. And I remember about halfway through, in that time period, we started moving away from the medication. And I remember it was a big moment for you in general.
That was a huge kind of thorn in my side for about 7 years of illness. It was something that just kind of took the edge off of me feeling off, but it wasn't helping me heal or doing it. It was just kind of a Band-Aid. But I had read horror stories about different folks going through crazy withdrawal from that class of medication, and I was concerned about that.
And you had really tried to kind of get off of it.
Yeah, a little bit, and I was just amazed with the ease by which I was able to rid myself of that through LHI's care.
I remember him noting that us coming to LHI, the fact that he was able to, like he said, a thorn in his side. Like he hated that dependency, that chemical dependency, feeling, tied to it and having to always have it with him and on him. He didn't like that control it had over his life. And so he said before, just coming here just for that alone, even if, all those other benefits that we're describing and the quality of life, even if that wasn't there, just for the fact that he could wean off of that medication and he could do it painlessly, was worth everything to him and just worth the whole trip all in itself.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to have to be drawn to that. I think you described it well, where you really feel handcuffed to a degree with it. And I wanted to just get what your experience was, calling them, on the phone and talking to them originally, and bringing them in and seeing what it's like now. To us, I mean, to see you guys where you are with your family and your little girl coming in, when we saw her sitting in the little chairs in there while you were getting treatment. I mean, we had those big, at the time, almost those big lazy boy chairs, and you were getting treatment with the IVs, and she was sitting there eating the snacks and sitting in the chair with you. And
then she tipped over.
Yeah.
And
she was little.
You propped her back up again.
She was
I know when
4
you.
months.
Yeah, I can recall when you were here, based on her age. She's floating around here now. She's just, one of a kind. You've sent me pictures all along. But the quality of life that you talked about, I didn't even think about any of this until you just said it, was now you're able to be 100% in with raising her, which is, evident about who she is, what she is, and the lifestyle that you guys do, from the organic food to she's eating tomatoes off the vine, she's eating raw kale. But you are able to be there and do that. And in the beginning, and we don't know where you were at before. That's the first I've heard about the house, the mold, or maybe I heard it, but it's so long ago.
Yep.
But I just remember. I remember, and I told you this the other day, when you guys left, you took a trip to Tennessee for an interview to move, and you sent me a text and said, Jack, we had the most horrible trip up here. Everything that could have went wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a horror text. And you said, but Calvin woke up as if nothing happened.
Yes.
He went out, he took the baby for a walk, he did this, he did that, and that was the beginning of everything, because since then you have excelled in everything. You keep in touch all these years. What is why I think I should do about this? I'm working out with that.
Yep.
You've given me self-videos of working out in the gym. And because that's the kind of input that we take every day when you're here for treatment. But after the fact, Wyatt will always tell everyone, you can get everybody to 60-70%, which is 100% for people. And then you go, and you kept going and going and going, and it's just...
Yeah, you had a lot of those moments where they were like kind of I don't know how to describe them to people, but they almost feel like tests sometimes, where it's like testing the new way of life. It's testing your new physical body, your new mental way of trying to do things and shift around, because it just affects everything. And there's those moments, and the real big one was when you're able to move away from the medication with really, like you said, where there wasn't much of hiccups. You moved away, you kept sleeping, kept going. But then there were those moments like that where it was just pushing your body and seeing that it was going to follow through with you. But it's an amazing experience to watch you go through it and see it today here, out here, where you got your kid running around, and it's just amazing. It's been a while. It's been some time, and I just, I'm happy for you, and it's just nice to see you come out and be able to get what you deserve out of this. It's an intense experience to have these symptoms, and it's an intense to watch someone go through it. So
when Amber was going through it, and you said, I also remember a year or so after everything was doing great, she calls and she said, Calvin's been so sick that I just realized that I don't feel good. But compared to what I don't feel good, compared to how bad he was, I was
you normalized it. You normalized feeling poorly.
I don't feel good, and then you did whatever you did from afar, even.
Yeah, he had been sick for so long, and so sick.
Yeah.
In bed 20 hours a day sick, that even though I was having my own symptoms, probably from chronic stress, from all these different things that were going on in our life together.
Yeah.
My health was on the decline, and I didn't even realize it until I saw him at full health after we left here. And I could see him working out and, full of energy and going on long walks, multiple long walks a day. And I was like, I don't even feel up to that. And so I just kind of realized maybe, I needed a little, and you helped me greatly. So just even from afar. So
I remember going back to the first conversation. So after getting to a point with the care that I had in Seattle with a doctor and feeling like we're at a plateau, there were two different clinics that I considered, and LHI, of course, and another one out west that had very different modalities and methodologies in terms of how they believe in healing. And one, the LHI way, which is strengthening the immune system and just allowing your body to naturally, fight and suppress the bacteria, and just resonated with me so much because I had tried so many different things over the years, and I always remembered whenever I did anything that was in that realm, I always felt better. But anytime I tried to attack or kill the Lyme or Bartonella with antimicrobials or antibiotics, I just never could tolerate any of it. It always made me sicker, and that's why I was sold on LHI from the get-go.
Yeah, I think it's a different approach that is needed. It's not one of those things where it's that trying to eradicate these bacteria is bad, and it is a good thing, especially when you catch them early. You can get rid of them, but at a certain point they build these biofilms and change the game on you, really, and it's hard to really approach them without involving at least some essence of strengthening the body. So appreciate you sharing everything.
Yeah.